From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon as $1,400 third stimulus checks finally arrived. But now we go to 4 stimulus checks, monthly stimulus checks for 6 months. How will this work? Who will get paid? What is the income qualification? If you're on SSI and SSDI, will you get these monthly stimulus checks? What are the numbers and what do you need to know and what do you need to be pushing for? In this video, I go over these monthly 4th stimulus checks. Thank you, Jeanette, for becoming a Purple Hawk right in the opening credits. And in this video, for the first time ever, you see new video from the press secretary answering and responding to the shocking new lawsuit against the CDC, claiming that the deals about the cruise industry are arbitrary and capricious, and that the boating industry should be able to dock in Florida right away. Meantime, for the first time ever, you see the press secretary responding to a scathing new op-ed by guess who? Joe Manchin. He's the new Temple of Doom 2021. He's moved into the Temple of Doom, and you know who has moved out. The new jobless numbers I detailed over earlier morning today, and I'll detail how these numbers impact your third stimulus as several stocks trade up really high on the day. Is it a tech rally or is it an unemployment boost as more jobless claims surge? I'll analyze all the detail for you as we go into an exciting Thursday afternoon. I'm so excited for you. The sun is out, the breeze is breezing, I'm here, you're here, and let's surf into the afternoon as Afternoons LA gets underway right now. It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA. Thank you for joining me on a big day as I have some surf in the background. We literally have some surf somewhere in the background. Did it kill? It's gone. There was too many surf sound effects in this video. You know, we can only have so much surfing, in one particular video. How are you? Good afternoon. I was like, what is all that surfing music? Surfing sound. You know, we're crashing the weekend. Not crashing the surf, not crashing the $12 ice cream or, crushing or crashing or however Nancy used to say it. But congratulations, you've made it to the afternoon. How are you? In this video, you're going to see for the first time ever, the press secretary responds to that scathing new op-ed by Joe Manchin. But is it really so scathing? It talks about 4 stimulus. Oh, goodness, here we go. He's really becoming Mr. Temple of Doom 2020. I mean, just, in 2020, people used to send me DMs. Oh, my God, Nancy made me very upset. Did you hear what she said? I just sort of sense we're getting down that path now with Joe Manchin. So I'll analyze with you if it really is scathing or not about recon and 4 stimulus. And then I'll be cutting over to that shocking development detail about Governor DeSantis, the Florida governor, suing the federal government to get boats to land and dock ports of call in Florida. The White House responds, and you'll see a new video from another cabinet member working on your 4th stimulus. How are you? It's a big afternoon, and thank you for joining me. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. And thank you for, oh, wow, Sandra with the massive dancing. What is that, a cat? It's a cat with like a trophy cat. Thank you for the massive super chat from Sandra. And thank you, Thomas Apparency from Northwest Wisconsin for the other dancing pair. We're off with a lot of dancing. Oh, and then I also want to thank Jeanette for becoming a Purple Hawk in the opening credits. I don't think I've ever had anyone become a member in just the opening credits. I can just run the credits and have people just sort of get up and dance like a dancing pair. Let me tell you where we are. Let's go over third stimulus. First of all, $1,400 third stimulus check. If you haven't gotten it, this is what you need to know. 1, Stay patient. Oh, that's Barbara Elliott with the, I always call it R2D2, but I guess it's a game controller. Thank you for the game controller. Very, very cute. A dancing game controller. If you have not gotten that third stimulus check, this is what I want you to do. First, stay calm. It takes time. Some people are still not having received it. What I want you to know is that there's a couple things to consider about a late third stimulus check. First, it may be coming by the mail. Number two, you may be in potentially a late direct deposit. Number three, there may be another round of stimulus checks potentially next week. Also, if you don't get it in about a couple weeks from now, and I know you don't want to hear that, thank you, John Vernier, for the dancing bear. Wait for IRS guidance, because IRS guidance is about to hit to explain how to request a missing third stimulus check. Now, as you know, if you're missing the second one, you should have filed a 2020 return already requesting that missing stimulus check. For my mail check viewers, it's coming very late. It just is. So if you have a date, don't worry, you're getting it. March 26th checks are still showing up. April 2nd to 5th checks are still showing up. And April 7th checks are still showing up. And Alicia with the cat, oh meow. We're on full kitty mode today. The kitties are overtaking the dancing pairs. Dancing pair from John and meow from oh, there's another one. And meow from Alicia. And now we're back with Art with another dancing pair. I really appreciate it. It's a big weekend, and let's get right to that fourth stimulus. You know, Joe Manchin has been sort of the temple of doom when it came to third stimulus. And here's my opinion of the situation: more growl than bite. He tends to want to growl a lot, but then when you're asking is he going to bite, he doesn't really bite. And I in a way, you have to respect the man because he wants to push a discussion of the subject matter, but he doesn't block. He doesn't block, and he has not been one who has blocked before. Lori, thank you for the super chat. Manchin was involved with a lot of, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, under third stimulus when the bill got to recon in the Senate. And ultimately, the president did call up Joe Manchin when your $1,400 third stimulus check was on the line in the Senate. And Joe Manchin backed off, and Joe Manchin got some compromises. John with another dancing pair. But what I want you to know, thank you for the massive dancing pair, John. But what I want you to know is Joe Manchin has never really blocked anything per se. He tries to move the discussion. And so what happened today? There's a new op-ed out, which is a opinion article where he voices his opinion. That's what op-ed means, in a newspaper. So why is he doing this? You know, trying to get a book deal. Manchin wants a book deal. I mean, why would someone do an op-ed about other Democrats? Why would one Democrat do an op-ed about other Democrats? Why not just call him on the phone? If you have a problem with Chuck Schumer and you're a member of the Democratic Party, wouldn't you just call Chuck on the phone? If you have a problem with someone in your own party, in your own family, wouldn't you call them up on the phone? Why would you do an op-ed about your family? This feels like Mama June, doesn't it? Does Joe Manchin feel like Mama June? She's just like, I don't want to hear about your fights with Honey Boo Boo. I mean, just keep it between you and Honey Boo Boo, Mama June. It feels like Joe Manchin is turning into Mama June. If you have a fight, keep it between you and Honey Boo Boo. So yeah, he doesn't like what Chuck Schumer is doing, and he's putting it into paper in a newspaper, which went everywhere. And it went so everywhere that even the press secretary had to get that question. And I'll be going over her video in a second. Mr. Black, thank you for the dancing pair. I really appreciate it. And there is Shirley Carter with Dime Lemon. Is that Dime Lemon? I think that's Dime Lemon. And Lori, thank you for coming to Purple Power. Wow, everyone welcome Lori. Lori's a longtime viewer, but I guess she upgraded. Let's listen in to what the press secretary said about this Joe Manchin article today. It comes right after a question about Ireland, so wait for the question from Ireland to finish.
Most frequently in touch with.
We're talking a few times a week, a few times a month.
I'm not going to give it a more define. I'm not going to define it more, other than to say that they engage not just about.
Thank you, Alicia, for the horse. The question that she's answering right here is, how often does the President of the United States speak with President Obama? And she says routinely, but when asked if they're discussing policy, she wouldn't answer that question.
Important moments in our country, but also about their own families. They have a connection on a personal level, so they discuss a range of issues when they connect.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Caitlin.
Does the president agree with Senator Manchin that budget reconciliation should not replace regular order in the Senate?
Well, first, for those of you who read the op-ed today or didn't read the op-ed, either way, did you all read it? Oh, surprised to hear. Surprised to hear.
A little sarcasm there. Clearly, everyone is reading this op-ed in which Joe Manchin, the senator Democrat who has often caucused with Republicans, comes out against Chuck Schumer and reconciliation. Let's hear the response.
I will say there's a couple of principles the president has as it
Thank you, Latice, for the super chat.
relates to engagement with Congress and how Democrats and Republicans should work together. The time has come to end these political games and to usher a new era of bipartisanship where we can find common ground on the major policy debates facing our nation. He also believes the issues facing our democracy today are not insurmountable if we choose to tackle them together. And he definitely believes that Republicans have a responsibility to stop saying no and participate in finding real compromise with Democrats.
Does he agree with this line?
Well, let me just say, those are all lines in Senator Manchin's op opinion piece. Look, the president believes that there is a path forward to get in for this American Jobs Plan passed with bipartisan support. That's why he's going to invite Democrats and Republicans here. That's why he's going to hear from them on their ideas that they've already put forward. We're going to leave it to leaders in Congress to determine the mechanisms for moving things forward, but we think there should be every opportunity to do this on a bipartisan basis.
Thank you, Cornelia brothers, for becoming a Purple Hawk.
Hey, Jim, just one more thing.
Yeah.
Can you rule out those Russian sanctions coming?
And that was the totality of the comments about Joe Manchin. Let me explain what's going on. Angela, thank you for the dancing pair. It's important to understand, the sort of the dynamic of what's going on. You have a bill. Well, it's not a bill yet, a proposal that's becoming a bill for a stimulus package. It has in there infrastructure, which Democrats and Republicans agree upon. It has in there tax raises, which only Democrats want, Republicans universally disagree upon. And then has climate in there, which only Democrats want, Republicans disagree upon. And, thank you, Miss April Green for the massive dancing pair. How are you? So thank you for the massive dancing pair, Miss April Green. So 3 items in the fourth stimulus package, 2 of them, the Republicans say they want to do it. I mean, it's their prerogative. They say, we don't want to do it. So the president says, I want bipartisanship. They say, I don't want to do it. I don't know how you can make this any clear. So Joe Manchin comes along 2 days ago and has that one opinion, which you saw the graphic I had for you on Joe Manchin, which is about the corporate tax rate. Thank you, Kathy, for the cat. Oh, meow. Kathy with the meow cat. I really appreciate it. Joe Manchin had that comment that, maybe we need to do the corporate tax rate at 25%. Here is Joe Manchin's comment on Monday. So the president came out on Monday, talked about a 28% tax rate. Joe Manchin, whatever verb you want to use, hit, slammed, came out, spoke, fired back, 25%. Okay, big deal. I mean, it's no big deal. But here's what sort of, thank you, Art, for the super chat. For a stimulus standalone bill, here's what's sort of strange is that if you disagree with your fellow member of your party by 3%, just tell them on the phone. Why are you issuing a news statement about 3%? Diane, dancing bear. This is one of the things you've never heard me cover on this channel, which I don't understand. I personally don't understand. The president wants 28%. Joe Manchin wants 25%. Big deal. I mean, it's 3%. So just tell the president, can you do 3%? Instead, Joe Manchin makes this whole media blitz about 3%. Why? Are you trying to get that book deal? We all heard who got a book deal yesterday at 7 figures. Yeah, if you didn't hear it, go on Google. You'll see who got a massive multi-million-dollar book deal. These people want book deals. I mean, they want it. They get fortunes from them. Thank you, Christine, for this dancing pair. So that was 2 days ago. And then today, Joe Manchin came out with another article saying, I don't like Chuck Schumer's win earlier this week. Chuck Schumer, as you know, earlier this week got a win so that he can do a modification of a recon without using an extra recon. Let me recap. You have one recon in the spring and one recon in the fall. Automatically. You're given one recon in the spring and one recon in the fall. Now, you have to agree to do a recon, but you're allowed to do one per spring and one in the fall. The one that was just done in the spring wasn't from this year. It was a leftover one from last year. Pretty easy. Well, Chuck Schumer asked the Senate parliamentarian, as the leader, he doesn't have permission of Joe Manchin to ask the parliamentarian. He asked the parliamentarian, may I modify the prior recon that I just did for your $14 third stimulus check with a new recon? She said, yeah, you absolutely can. I agree with you. Thank you, Laketria West, for coming to Purple Hawk. And she gave him that huge win. I mean, I can't tell you how big this win is. It's enormous. It basically sets in place the ability to do reconciliations the whole rest of the year, maybe into next year. Let me show you the graphic if I can find it in here. Here we go. So your third stimulus check, which you're just getting this week, that was the result of a leftover recon from last year. Ooh. And so you're allowed, Chuck Schumer had a recon available for this spring and one in the fall. Well, he got that winning ruling from the Senate parliamentarian on Monday that said, no, Leader Schumer, you can go back and modify the third stimulus package with another recon, the fourth. And then you could do another one this spring. And then you could do one in the fall, September. Or you can just keep on saving these up if you just want to do one for now for a while and then save them up for later on. Now, here's what you need to know about that, is that this was an enormous win. And so what did the illustrious senator from West Virginia say? Joe Manchin said, this is a disgrace. You shouldn't be spending all the Senate time on doing reconciliations. We shouldn't be doing reconciliations all the time. Now, if you read the op-ed that was published today, he doesn't say he doesn't want to do a recon. He doesn't say he wouldn't do a recon. He doesn't say he wouldn't do the fourth stimulus package by a recon. He just says, this is not the way it's supposed to be done. Well, guess what? It's been done that way for the last 15 years. It didn't just start this week. Says, I don't think this is the way it should be done. Again, which causes me to question, and I don't know the answer. Maybe you have the answer. Why don't you drop in the comments? Let's have the whole room discuss. Why do you think Joe Manchin came out with an op-ed today slamming Chuck Schumer and the recon process 3 days after he slammed the president and the 28% wanted 25%? Why is Joe Manchin running his mouth? Why is Joe Manchin trying to get all this publicity for himself lately? What is your thought about it? Because I'd love to hear your comments on it, because I have no idea. I absolutely have no idea. Why do you think Joe Manchin wants, and you have to understand, he's not blocking the fourth stimulus package. He's saying go from 28 to 25. Big deal, done. He's not saying, no, I'm not going to do a recon. He says, you shouldn't be doing recon, but I'll do a recon. But, you shouldn't be doing a recon. Why is he doing this every 48 hours? Is the recon police? No, it's not the police. Rena, thank you, Rena, for becoming a Purple Hawk. Let me jump into the comments and see what you're saying. Why do you think Joe Manchin keeps on doing this? Trying to stall it. That could be the case, but the bill hasn't started yet. The bill hasn't even landed in the House yet. If that was later, absolutely. Someone said a book deal. I think it's a book deal. Michael Lill says book deal. What are the other reasons? Why do you think Joe Manchin keeps on slamming his fellow party and the fourth stimulus package before it even starts? Creating an issue to stall it, another person said. Publicity, says Diane. He's ready for president of the Republican Party, says another person. A distraction, John. Theater, Connie. Yes, some people love theater. Some politicians love political theater. That's a great comment, Connie. He wants a book deal. Two people, Beth and Keisha. That's my only thought of it, that's a book deal. Maybe he's... I can't say that on camera. Book deal, 3 book deals there. Publicity sells books. Attention person. Yeah, he really likes attention. He really wants a lot of attention for his own political aspirations, says Sandy. Very interesting. And I think viewers have a really good sense of what's going on because he's not blocking the fourth stimulus package. He's not blocking the tax rate. He's not blocking the bill. He's just saying, I don't like the way you're doing this. Okay, well, just tell me to my face why are you running to the newspaper and running an op-ed. If you don't know what an op-ed is, the way an op-ed works is you see in your computer, you write it out, you type it out, and then you contact the publisher of the magazine, say a newspaper, New York Times, LA Times, wherever it's going to be. I like to run an op-ed. Oh, you're Joe Manchin? Of course I'll run the op-ed, and I'll put it at the top, and big letter. And so you don't get paid for it. It's free. So there's no benefit for an op-ed unless you want people to be talking about you. And as you saw with the press secretary here, she said, I assume you read it. And then she sort of smirked. She said, yeah, you probably did read it. And away we go. I just received my $14 stimulus check today by mail, says Joyce. I'm on SSI. Wow, there you go. Let me cut to another breaking developing detail, and this one's surprising. This has a lot of implications across the board. You heard it earlier today on this channel. Between mornings till late and noontime, I told you that Governor DeSantis of Florida sued the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, Dr. Walensky, the woman you see on my videos every day with Dr. Fauci. He's at another department. She's the Center for Disease Control head. He sued her, saying that her ideas that say her guidelines, her CDC guidelines, that says cruise ships cannot dock in Florida is improper, illogical, capricious, arbitrary, and he went to court to sue the CDC to allow them to dock. This is a surprising development. Thank you, Wendy, for becoming a Purple Hawk. Everyone welcome Wendy. So let's see for the first time ever the White House's reaction to the governor of Florida suing, ostensibly, the federal agency to stop it from blocking the cruise industries from docking in Florida. Let's listen in. This is interesting.
Secure and prosperous Northern Ireland in which all communities have a voice and enjoy the gains of the hard-won peace. We welcome the provisions in both the EU-UK Trade and Cooperation Agreement and the Northern Ireland Protocol, which
it comes up right after this Ireland
the
exchange.
Belfast Good Friday Agreement. At this point, I would expect that engagements and discussions are at the level of the State Department, and I expect my colleague over there, we'll see if he has an update on those engagements today in his briefing. Go ahead, Francesca.
Jen, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced a lawsuit today against the CDC and the federal government demanding that cruise liners be able to operate again. And Florida's Attorney General said the suit was filed this morning against those entities and HHS, pushing to have the government's conditional sale order declared unlawful. Does the White House have a response to Florida's lawsuit?
We don't have a direct response to a lawsuit nor a comment on a specific legal action, but I will just reiterate that the CDC guidance is based on data and health and medical guidelines. Hence, that's why they put it out and why they regularly update it.
The president has set forth July 4th as the date he'd like to see Americans who are vaccinated be able to gather in small groups. At the same time, the CDC said last week that there's a low risk for vaccinated Americans who travel. So does the president think it's an appropriate timeline of July 4th? That's what the cruise industry, specifically Norwegian travel, is asking for, is a July 4th date here.
We would defer to the CDC on any updated guidelines, but I don't anticipate that. But I would defer to them on any expectation they have of changing those guidelines. Again, they base them on health and medical experts who work at the CDC. They base them on data. The president's announcement on July 4th has nothing to do with cruise lines, as you know. It has to do with incentivizing, encouraging Americans to get access to the vaccine when they can get vaccinated. As we know, by the end of May, we will have enough vaccine supply to ensure every adult American can be vaccinated. So that's more about gatherings, small gatherings in your backyards, which is quite different from cruises, of course.
Well, the reason I brought up July 4th is because that's the date that Norwegian Cruise Line is asking for them to be able to allow to vaccinated individuals to be able to cruise. So that's where the July 4th date comes from. But also, more broadly speaking, they're asking in this industry for them to be able to be treated the same way that planes and airlines are able to be treated. So is there any specific concern that the White House has about allowing people who've been vaccinated to be able to resume cruising?
Again, we rely on the guidance of the CDC.
Here's the rub, which is really, it's a very good exchange by this reporter. And the reporter, clearly, you have to give big applause to the reporter for staying on point for this message. The president's message is that by July 4th, we would see this country much different and we would interact in a different way. The cruise industry, what they have proposed is that cruises can resume now with a fully vaccinated crew and a fully vaccinated clientele, that the passengers would be vaccinated and that children under a certain age would follow different guidelines. Here, despite people traveling on a boat fully vaccinated, the CDC says, no, we're not going to allow that to happen. Make sense? What's at issue here is big money for the state of Florida that gets money from those cruise industries docking there. Why is this important for you? Why am I showing this video for you? Guess what? Jobs. The biggest job jump on last Friday's number, travel and hospitality. Of the massive 1 million jobs reported last Friday, it was actually 935. 250,000 of it was from travel. And so hence, if you see events like this where states say, you can't keep on blocking the travel and the hospitality in our state and win these rulings, this could open up big job growth in this economy. And you remember what I said, if there's big job growth, the push for stimulus could come too late. Let's look back at that graphic again. The speed issue of forced stimulus is a very real issue. Number 3, underneath the afternoon's LA logo, job restoration. You want this forced stimulus bill in the Senate as soon as possible before jobs are restored. Something like this that could restore the cruise industry jobs in the state of Florida and could impact all the port of calls jobs around those docks, could absolutely spur hundreds of thousands of jobs in 1 month in a shocking turnaround. This is a big developing detail because something like this, if one state starts with this, another state could start with this. This could cause enormous job restoration and economic rebound. What I always tell you about with these stimulus checks is you want the bill in the Senate as soon as possible. And every time you hear a governor saying we're going to try to get jobs restored faster, that means more jobs could happen. Who gets a forced stimulus check? Let's go over this again. Forced stimulus check would come to people who are $75,000 or less, household of 4, and also if you're on SSI and SSDI. We need those monthly stimulus checks, says Jacqueline Albert. Absolutely. Wendy King says, Manchin likes prime time. And then Robert says, Manchin's negotiating. Big, good paying jobs is what we need, says Art Sullivan. Absolutely. You understand that forced stimulus package is really wonderfully done if they get it done. But ultimately, the recon path was the subject of that first video about Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin in an op-ed today said, I don't really keep on doing recons. Why are we doing recon after recon? Well, if you have no Republican willing to support you, what are you supposed to do? And ultimately, a recon path allows a votorama. This is what's very strange about the Manchin article today. If you look at the votorama on the graphic right now, let me explain why the Manchin article makes no sense, and a lot of times politicians make no sense. What makes no sense about the Manchin article is the votorama. Why? Because when the bill lands in the Senate on the second path, because the first path is to get it approved, the second path is to actually do the provisions, that's when you propose your amendments. If you're Joe Manchin, you don't like something, you propose an amendment. And he did. He did not want FPUC this current round at $400 a week. He negotiated with the president and he got it at $300 a week. That was Joe Manchin's doing. He got the FPUC reduced by $100 a week. Also, if you don't like student loan debt forgiveness being taxed, you do a votorama. And that's what Elizabeth Warren did for you. And Chuck Schumer. It's a huge, wonderful, wonderful feature. Under the third stimulus package, now, if student loan debt is forgiven, you don't have to pay taxes on it. Let me explain how this works. Student loan debt has not been forgiven yet. But without the third stimulus package bill being passed into law, if it was forgiven, the student loan debt, you would have to pay taxes on a forgiven debt. Third stimulus bill took care of that. The third stimulus bill said when the federal government, if it ever does forgive your student loan debt, you don't have to pay for taxes on a forgiven debt. That could have been tens of twenties of thousands of dollars, a fortune, absolute fortune. So where are we on that student loan debt? A push is underway for executive order. Last Friday, the President of the United States told Warren, told Schumer, okay, finally, I will send it back to my education czar, my education secretary, cabinet member, to determine the legal validity of student loan debt forgiveness. And if it is legally valid, I will forgive it. And that you will hear in about 9 days from now. Elizabeth Warren says the president has authority to do it because Obama and Trump both did it. I believe she's correct. And if that is how we're going, you could see that happening in less than 10 days from now. Meantime, let me cut back to the big details if you're just joining me. The big details is there was 2 exchanges today with the press secretary that are huge. One about Joe Manchin. What does the president think about Joe Manchin writing an op-ed today, basically slamming Leader Schumer about using the recon process, but still saying, I would do it. I just don't like it, but I don't want to do it. The press secretary sort of smirked and said, well, you know, be it what it is, there's not much of a comment to it. And then when asked, why is the CDC preventing cruise industries from docking in Florida when the entire boat is vaccinated, but will allow you to get on a plane when people are not vaccinated? She had no comment really substantively about that. Meantime, there was a third video, which I want to show you right now, who's your energy secretary. She spoke today a little bit about the fourth stimulus package. If you have questions, drop them in the comments right now, and I'll answer them. I'll cut into the video and answer your questions live on air. Let's listen in.
Looked into the eyes of people who have been desperate and at a loss more times than I can count. And I was also governor when we invested to diversify Michigan's economy to build Car 2.0, which is the electric vehicle, and the guts to that vehicle, the battery. And now here we are 12 years later, and General Motors is saying that their entire fleet is going to be electrified. It is a huge distance that we've traveled, and so much of that is thanks to the decision by the federal government to invest in saving the backbone of the manufacturing industry, which was at that point the electric or the vehicle industry. The Obama-Biden efforts really made a statement and worked. And so we can do so much.
So Ryan just asked, what's going on with the SSI 200? The president wants to do SSI, Social Security reform, but the push for $200 a month, $2,400 is currently not there. And when you look at the numbers, ultimately, multiple stimulus checks dwarfs SSI and SSDI. Who qualifies for the multiple stimulus checks? SSI recipients, along with everyone else. Let's look at those numbers. Here you go. If you got these multiple stimulus checks out the door in July and it was $2,000 a month, that would be $12,000 an individual. If it's $1,400 a month, that's $8,400 a month, an individual. The numbers we do know are the following. 1, the income qualifications would be the same as the current stimulus package. 2nd, the household would be less than 4 individuals. 3rd, if you're on SSI and SSDI, you would get this money. This money would be a lot more than the $2,400 of SSI. You can see how much bigger these numbers are. Great question. Let's listen in more to the secretary.
More than what we did in Michigan, and this is what the American Jobs Plan is all about. I feel so happy for America that we have a president who wants to invest in our country and in our workers and in our manufacturing. And so, to me, the fact that there is out there globally a $23 trillion market for clean energy products.
So Trish Cardwell asked a really great question. For student loan debt forgiveness, even if they forgive the tax, there's interest on the loan. You still have to pay the interest. No. The way they would do this under the standalone bill is that you would not have to pay the interest on the loan or the taxes on the loan. The whole thing would be forgiven up to $50,000. Great question.
for products that will reduce greenhouse gas emissions is a massive opportunity for this country. And you better believe that other countries are seeing that opportunity as well. And our economic competitors are working to corner the market on those opportunities. Countries like China are pressing their foot on the pedal and revving up their electric engines, and they are thrilled to see that the United States.
So John asks, did not get my December stimulus check. So referring to the second stimulus check for John and his son. How do I get that? File the 2020 tax return. The 2020 tax return is a fix-it for that. Let me cut in because that's a great question. And I think that's one of the items I want to end with, which is very big and important. If you're missing things, there's going to be a lot of things for you to potentially fix. Here are things that you may be missing or need to fix. A missing first stimulus check, a missing second stimulus check, a missing third stimulus check, a missing household members check. Maybe the husband and wife got the check and one kid, but not the third. Or you think that the IRS needs to know about that child because that $3,600 in July is coming up, or $3,000, and you think that IRS doesn't know you have that child. For example, let's say you're on SSI and you have a child. That child is not on SSI. You don't file tax returns. They don't know about the child. You want to make sure they know about that. How do you fix that? There's a lot of fixing to go on. And IRS is going to give a massive advisory in the next few days prior to that May deadline. Yes, your tax return this year is due in May, so that you can fix these things. My advice to you is make a list, get a pen and paper, make a list of things that you think you are owed or need to update to fix, because you want to do it all together in one filing, however IRS tells you how to do it. Don't do one filing now and then fix another thing a week from now and then another thing after that. Also, I've had a lot of people say, I want to update my address. I want to update my direct deposit account for 4 stimulus checks. How do I do that? Same way. We have to wait for the totality of IRS's advisory. This advisory where they say, use this document, do it this way. At the moment, we only have two advisories, which is first, if you didn't get that first or second stimulus check, do a return. But everything else, they say, wait on for that. So thank you for joining me on a big afternoon's LA broadcast. A lot of details across the board, and I'm really excited for you on understanding all these details. Let me jump one more time back into the live chat and see if there's any other questions or comments that viewers have. So if you're on Social Security, do you qualify for the 4th stimulus? Says Jan Velato. Yes. Let me show you that graphic again. So here are the people who would qualify for the 4th stimulus. This is another LA graphic. Who gets it? We know that the Democrats, the 21 of 50 Democrats, want to give you a stimulus check. They want it to be monthly. They want it to be now to December. They also want the following income qualifications to be the following: $75,000 or less, household 4 or less, and you would qualify if you're on SSI, SSDI, and Social Security. This is who would get it. Ron Warren, mortgage assistance for 3rd stimulus. Yes, that's at your city, your state, and your county. So cities, states, and counties are administering the rent, the utilities, and that's for King Reno also. The rent, the utilities are being administered by your city, your county, and your state. Also, the mortgage assistance, the homeowner's utility bills, and other homeowners' assistance. Every city and county does it slightly different, and your city may be less relaxed, may be less stringent than your county or your state. So there's a lot of places to reach out to ensure you get that. Of course, if you have any questions about that or have problems getting it, always reach out to the volunteers. And someone asked, when could we see this 4th stimulus happening? Let's go to that graphic. That's Everin North. Let me show you that graphic. So you would expect this to get to the Senate by June and the money to start going out by July. Ultimately, you want to understand that the fastest we get this done, the better we are. Here's the graphic. Now, ultimately, there's no guaranteed date for anything, but the faster we get this bill out the door, the better we are to getting to the finish line. Meantime, the Masters continues all weekend long, and I have updates for you throughout the day, starting tomorrow. First round action's about to conclude. The Masters continues from Augusta all weekend long through Sunday. There's $11.5 million purse. The defending champ is Dustin Johnson. Really exciting. And thank you for joining me on a big afternoon's LALATE. Wow. We have literally covered everything today. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video and consider becoming a member. Thank you for the new members in this video. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the dancing bears. And let's give this video a like and make sure you subscribe. It's our 1-year anniversary in a few weeks. So let's try to get to 400,000 subscribers. We're about 6,000 away. Stay informed, stay focused, keep smiling, and stay at LA for more.